So why Wheelos? And why collecting Wheelos? Actually, first off, I had already started unboxing this a little bit. I realized that I'm about at the end of my collecting Wheelos. I've collected quite a few. I think I may have the largest collection of them, which isn't any big brag, just because most people don't collect them. Usually they collect one or two and they're done. I've seen a few collections here and there that had, as many as 6 Wheelos. So, but this here was still in the box. This has been in the box for months. I bought this. Hadn't even unwrapped it. Okay, this is one of the premier pieces, is a display for Wheelos. And this one, you will notice, now I have one up there in the glass case, and that one works. And as long as we're doing stuff, we might as well go all over the place in different directions. We will plug that in. And I think I need to straighten the wheel a little bit so it will actually work. Usually it gets a little wonky after setting. Okay, there we go. So that is what you would have had in your local toy store or hardware store when you were a kid to see how one worked when you were... but this one, if you look up there, is 98 cents. Now, I don't have an exact year break off, but the 79 cents was when these first started coming out. 98 cents would have been somewhere in the 60s. I don't know when. You get into the late 60s and the 70s, and the Wheelo stuff, whether it's a display or an individual Wheelo box, had no price. You would think the no price might be the older one. No, the 79 cents was the original price that they put out on Wheelos. Wheelos were originally put out by Harvey, I think it was, somebody. We'll have to look some of this stuff up. And we'll have to check with the real gurus, the chat people, and see if they know anything more than I do. And we're going to ask you to help, because part of this is we want to advance the knowledge on Wheelos. Even though it's an insignificant toy, I got caught up in it. I'm sure other people have. Let's bring together the things that we don't know. But anyway, the guy that came up and put out the Wheelos, most of the information says that he started putting them out in '53. The earliest thing I can find is 56. I think 53 was the date that he applied for a patent pending. He also wrote a book, and I can't remember his name. Somewhere I've got the book around here. I don't think it's going to be quick to find. But he wrote a book, and part of it he was bragging about different things he had done, including lying to Congress under oath or some other court case. And it was proven somehow, anyway, in a next court case that he went to, he used the fact that they had proven him to be a liar so that anything that he advertised could not be used against him. Anything that he said from then on in any public setting, because he was proven to be an official out-and-out liar. So now, what plays in with that is the fact that the basic Wheelo goes back to about World War I, as near as I can tell, but not under the name Wheelo. And until I started collecting them, I didn't realize this. And we'll get into what I know a little bit about the histories. But anyway, it's kind of definitely, it was not invented in '53. I cannot find any real advertising or stuff that's previous to '56. And anyway, and where I first got back into it, when I was a kid, I had a Wheelo. And I had a couple of them. One of them would have been much like this one, and it was my uncle's. But it was bent. And it had been given to me to take home. And this one might even be bent, which would be just perfect. So it was bent. It didn't really roll right. You get one that rolls right, they're pretty cool. But this is kind of not fun. And I don't go around and straightening them all out. This one happens to be one of the older ones. Anyway, after I couldn't make it work, I decided I was going to go into town and I was going to buy one. I'm before school age now. I'm, 4 something, maybe early 5s. And I'm going to go into town. I'm going to buy one, whatever they cost. Somehow I managed to get together the money and bought one. And I took it into the car and I started to roll it and get it to go. And I was just starting to get it to go, and my sister reaches over to show me, because it's a newer one that had the adjustable speed on it. And she says, see, you can adjust the speed. Well, that's something I found out then and have found out since. If you have one of the ones with the adjustable speed control, if it's new and you've never messed with it, where they set it is the fastest it will ever be. Once you move that control, it bends the wires a little bit. They'll never be as straight. I could take calipers. I'm a machinist. I could straighten one out. But as far as the way it comes, so my Wheelo never went really perfect either. I've had some that go fine, and being an adult helps. Nonetheless, I got disappointed with Wheelos at that point. I said, boss, don't, it's cool idea, goes up and down. And they had a little thing on TV about it, goes up and down and all around, and some kind of a little song. So then, many years later, TV show comes on, and after the TV show is over, it was called The Pretender. And I looked it up here the other day. It was Series 2, number 2, and he happened to have a Wheelo on there. And I said, oh, I haven't had one of those in, 30 years. So I go on eBay, and this now has been 12 years ago probably. I go on eBay and I go click, click, click. Look at that. New surplus in box, $20. That's a lot of money. Okay, offer him 18. So anyway, I ended up with the Wheelo. It was a few more dollars for shipping. It was still 20 something by the time I got it. And I got the Wheelo. I looked at it a little bit and I'm like, okay. And I bought a couple more. And I just started ending up collecting them. And as I got to collecting Wheelos, I collected other ones that were not Wheelo brand too. And I want to go through here for starters, and I'll just kind of make some piles here on the table. Some stuff we may go up, because I have some up on the counter there, some up on another counter. Yeah, we might bring them all to the table. We might not, but we'll get rid of... My mother collected all kinds of different painted plate series. Yes. Okay. Yeah. No wheel, but it had this. And I don't remember if they said, because this is special too. That's not real special, but it's a Wheelo with a little arm on it. And that's got the same one there. And... yeah, I think that's still fairly early, but the 79 is earlier yet. And that one also has, yeah, they said, I hadn't looked at it yet. This one here is wood. That one is a cardboard base. I'm pretty sure that these guys said that the motor didn't run. Sounds good though. And you would tend to think that these are actually less rare than some of the other things I have, as far as Wheelos go. But they're somewhat rare, and they're kind of, because they were the display. It's trying to run, it's got a bad gear inside. Standard clock motor, something you could find off the shelf any day of the week you wanted in 1955. There's a few of them still floating around. I can get the motor separate. Okay, so let's start off with stuff that is Wheelo. Go over there. And then there's ones that are totally non-Wheelo. I think I'll just set them off on the couch as we go through. Ones that are not really Wheelo, but just... like this one, it's kind of cool. I don't even know a brand on it. It's got the rack that you can use there, and it goes along the spiral, and then it will reverse. And so, like, you could keep it where it just goes up, and then it comes back the other way faster. And it's kind of a cool one. Plus, you can do this other thing. I saw a picture of one more of these, like this one, for sale, but I haven't seen a lot of them, and this is obviously the only one I have. And it's kind of neat, but it's a, don't know the brand, don't know anything about it. A Campbell's Kids. Some of these are just because I don't know whether this was, and Wheelo was manufactured originally by the Maggie Magnetic Company. And as we're going through, we might as well, I guess we'll delve into some, well, no, I'm going to wait till I get all the Wheelos together. But it's a Maggie Magnetic Company. And they originally called it a Maggie Magnet Wheel. I have not found, they talk of a patent on it, but I had not found the patent. And like I say, it says on the wheels themselves that it was patent pending. And I believe the patent pending started in '53. Now here is a relatively early Wheelo. And yes, this is a real early one. I'll just put that over there in the Wheelo pile for now. That is a box for a space wheel. Oh, that's the Sputnik one. That's the one for Sputnik. That one's even more. Okay, Wheelo. This is not Wheelo, but it's critical to Wheelo. This is the earliest one that I have ever found. As far as, this is not Wheelo. We will get the instruction sheet from it. I've got actually a whole bunch of these. They're kind of hard to get, but as I started collecting early on, before I let people know that there's one of these that I keep seeing on the internet still. Now, I paid about $100 a piece for these sets of these ones, carved wood. And it comes with more than just this, a full kit. Some of them in good shape, some of them bad, but these are Wheelo. This is not a complete set, but this is the Sputnik. This one is a little more. This is the only one I've got that has the actual land mass on it for the Sputnik. You're supposed to have a space race with the space station, the Russian satellite, and the US satellite is what you're supposed to do to commemorate Sputnik. And we get back here. Yes, this is, again, part of this early one. And that's, again, like I say, do we think that the Wheelos were totally their own thing and never had anything like them before? You look at this carved wooden one and this individual handle here that was approximately World War I, just after World War I. And anyway, I see one of these still that keeps popping up on the internet, and the guy he's been holding steady on the price for about 3 years. In the same time, I've bought one more of them for like $30, but he wants $380 or something for it. And maybe somebody will pay that. I don't. I've got several of them for a lot less. And yes, I don't know that I'm going to collect anymore. I may even just start getting rid of some of my collection, but I don't think most people are as crazy as me to buy much of them. Okay, this is a whole different thing. Barney Bear. Wonder why I still have another Barney Bear. Did I buy 3 of them? Huh, I must have. I didn't remember doing that. Okay. Barney Bear was a whole nother toy thing. My sister had one when she was little, and she loved it, loved it, loved it. I thought it was pretty cool too. I broke it for her. Anyway, I bought 2 of them, put one together for her birthday, and took a video of it running, actually, too, before it died. Because, well, it didn't die, but just to be sure, since they're really old. While it was running, I took a video of it running and sent both of that to her for her birthday here a few years ago. And that's the remnants from that. So, there's more of the Sputnik. This is something else that I have... Nope, it is not something else I've neglected. This is another early Wheelo. Just, again, when you get to the point to where you're not unwrapping your toys, you should probably quit buying more toys, at least of that particular type. I have other things. I have 57 Ford I could invest. I'd really put it into the 58 wagon first. It's not going to be a wagon. So, Okay. Oh, let's just bring these down. I'm pretty sure that these are all the same, the traveling tops. Traveling top number 200. I think this is, this was not Mark's. I forget what toy company this is. They, the chemical company, Porter Chemical Company, they made the little chemistry sets that we even got uranium samples in when I was a little kid. They had the premier sets for chemistry. Now here is the thing, and I bought a book about the history of the Porter Chemical Company tool, and they listed all their toys and stuff. They do not even list this as existing. So it's relatively rare. I ended up with quite a few, but it's relatively rare. They have their instructions there. They're the interesting part. Many trips, spin slowly, try speed. No. Okay, new mysterious, manufactured by the Porter Chemical Company, Hagerstown, Maryland. It's thrilling. And blah, 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 blah. Tracks, warning. Okay, somewhere there's a little sales blurb that is really interesting, that tells more about this than anything else. Another up and down with a little practice. Note that the spinning wheel grasps closer handles. No, none of that. Okay. Well, since I've started down this habit trail, let's go down it for a second. We got most of these here. We will find somewhere here. And here is another one. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but it's in between the age of these and this one. I had it pinned, I think, in the late 40s. This is by Mark's company, Mark's Toy Company. And that one is metal, actually. The wheel is metal on it. This is number 200. See, here's the way the kit lays out. You have the little wheel, that one there. You have some little fancy colored discs, which Wheelo came up with on the side of the box too. So there really was nothing new that he came up with in Wheelo except for better advertising. Here we go. This is it. Okay. Care of the mysterious traveling top. This toy has been carefully manufactured to give the best possible performance and will continue to operate for years if given reasonable care. It employs an entirely improved magnetic principle that was perfected by American industry during the war. That's why I believe that this is a post-World War I item, because it is referring to how we came up with new industrial magnetics during the war, and also being out of carved wood. It's just it's a ways back. I could see it being as late as 1930, but I think it's probably closer to 2022, be my guess. I don't think it's right after the war, but you never know, unless you know. Okay, and they made Wheelos in different sizes. Some of them a little smaller than others. This is a junior. I don't know when the years of the juniors. And that Campbell's one over there, I don't think that's actually a Wheelo brand. I didn't see anything that said it was, but it was a copy of a junior size. And this one here is also in the 60s, but we'll show you why on that earlier. There's a couple of things really interesting with the wheels. And there's another Mark's. Put them down there. These are about as old of a Wheelo as I have got. You get this free when you purchase a Channel Master antenna. Well, the particular Channel Master antenna is kind of a collector's item too to people that collect old radios and TVs, because it came out in 1956. And they had an ad that I've only found back to 57. So I'm not sure when this came out. I found an ad for this, just like this little thing here. And I have a Channel Master antenna up there. And unfortunately, those have become quite collectible. And I'm not going to spend $200 to get a second one. And I have one. Why do I need a second one? But that was originally how these came. Now, what is really also cool about this, besides being like this one here, this one I've opened before. That one in there has never been opened. The box on this side over here has been opened and had the sales receipt from all of the antennas that the shop had sold. But apparently they weren't giving away the Wheelos, whether nobody wanted them or whatever. But the other one is still sealed. It's actually a sealed case of these from 1956 or 57. And yeah, so that's pretty cool as far as a collectible, and I've just left it sealed. The other one is open, and we can open it and look in a little bit, but we'll just keep it poked together. And I bought these. It's kind of a thing I do when I start buying things. I do this a lot for the shop too. I bought one. I saw a couple weeks later a second one popped up like this. I said, oh, that's pretty cool. And so I bought it too, new in the box, out of the 50s. I think he said 60s on the ad, but anyway, it was older. And then I emailed him and I said, how many more of those do you got? Well, I got 2 cases. One of them's opened. And somehow we arrived at a price per each of them, and I just bought everything he had. I don't know how many he sold out of the first ones, whether they were part of a case, and he sold me the 2. Maybe I got all of them. I don't know if I got all of them or if he'd sold a few first before I asked him for all of them. But I do that sometimes. I ask people. They think nobody's going to want more than one. And, well, the fact it was a sealed case made it even more neat to me. And this one, this will go in the non-Wheelo, but you can see it was popular enough that people were just they were copying it once it caught on. There was just a total copy. There's nothing to say about it other than it was a copy of the other one, and this is a magic spinning wheel. And does it work okay? And the way these work is quite the same as a locomotive. Yeah, it ain't got much magnetics these days. So they work much the same as, I think I remember playing with that before. Yeah, the pin's not fully centered. It's part way out of the hub. It's poorly made is what it is. So they didn't need to get rich off of their stuff since they couldn't make it right anyway. Okay, so this one will go over here in the non-Wheelo, not anything category. Don't need to move those. I don't know. Huh. Okay, I think this is just an Orbitoy. Orbitoy. Ah, yes, Orbitoy. I have an Orbitoy too. Orbitoy is also one of my parts bears. It's obviously another bear. No, it's just a box for a bear and 2 old batteries in it. Okay, not to do with Wheelos. This, yes, was a box of stuff that came with another one of these and an Orbitoy. I've got 2 of the Orbitoys somewhere, probably up over there. The Orbitoy will end up in the non-Wheelo section, but it's kind of neat. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I got some down here too. It's good to organize them a little bit. Every several decades, it's good to organize things. Okay. Wheelo, not Wheelo. And of all, when it comes right down to having fun, while these are not a Wheelo, and I don't know how much they are now, but they were about $4 at one time when I bought several of them. Oh, these ones here have gotten all whacked out. these are actually some of the funnest ones to play with. They're a little harder to get started, but once you get them started, I thought about machining one and just seeing how much we could do. I know I got others that work better. Okay. Haven't ran that in a long time. You can see it spread just a little bit. Usually these ones, when I start bending them very much, because this is a totally new age Chinese lowest dollar possible situation. Okay, that's a little better. And what you'll find is it's fairly easy to get it to go too fast. And if the battery's good, there's a little light that lights up in it. So the battery's not good in that wheel. But I put them to the inside because you can go faster before the wheel wants to fall apart, before it wants to fly off. Maybe there's a reason why this one was sitting over there. I don't remember them being that hard to get started. If you get them on the inside and everything's right, you can really get spinning fast with these. Okay. I wanted to build one that was machined with a really straight track and just see how fast we could get it going. There we go. If you go a little faster than that, it will fly off. And I've had many of them splatter across the room. But for relatively fun, this is actually about the funnest of them to sit there and play with. These ones, I thought, again, not a Wheelo, but, and I don't know the history other than just a few of them have shown up, little bunny rabbits. Or gophers, I forget. I guessed one, I think I thought they were gophers, and I think they actually said they were bunny rabbits. You guys can decide, I don't know. I think it's supposed to be a bunny rabbit. They actually, even though they're not balanced so well, I think the out of balance carries them through a little better maybe. And this one has the speed control thing. And so, yeah, those are all not Wheelos. Twister, that is a Wheelo product. That is a real Wheelo product. Okay. My mother, many years ago, commenting on my personality, she said she couldn't quite figure it out when I was a kid. I would go in a store, and if there was something I liked, I would go up to before I understood the mathematics behind it, I'd go up to the storekeeper and I'd ask the storekeeper, how many of these can I buy with this much money? And I'd buy all of them I could. And whatever I chose that I liked in the store, I bought. So you can kind of understand why I collect things. It's just my nature. You know, it's like Dodge Cummins pickups. I don't know how many I have. I think I got about 12 of them right now that run and drive, and several parts rigs. We counted like 30 some here a while back, including the parts ones. And we'll have to do one on first gen Dodges one of these days, because I do have some, actually on differences on the Dodges, This is a Rugrats, a non-Wheelo, sealed fairly late. It's got the oops, the UPC, and apparently it came along. This one is a Wheelo. Ah, okay. From Skillcraft. After Maggie Magnetic, they quit existing making this toy. Some other toy company, Skillcraft, was the last one that bought them out before they quit. That was the last. Yeah, it's a Wheelo, but that's real late, and yeah, that's probably more rare than a lot of the other stuff, even though it's fairly late because they just didn't sell that many. Binary Arts was a company. They were also selling other toys, educational toys and stuff. They're part of, I believe, Edmunds Scientific. If you know Edmunds Scientific, then you know about them, or they're kind of going down from what they were. I think this was part of Edmunds Scientific or a spin-off from it. Anyway, this was after the Skillcraft. But it's a Wizmo. It's not a Wheelo. But we have one of those too. These ones actually I bought here in Fairbanks in a secondhand store. And I don't know anything about them other than they were some more of the generic made in China. And it says $4 here, but I think they got $1.50 a piece for them when I bought them. So it's a Wheelo type. That's interesting. A Wheelo rounder in plastic. That's the only one of those I've got. Because those normally came in boxes like this. So that had to be a late one. That had to be a late one. Oops. Wooden wheel we didn't want to drop. Okay. Those are both Wheelo. We'll leave them there. Yeah, this is Wheelo. Yeah, this one wasn't all beat up. Yeah, it was ready to go right out of the box. Here, you want to take this one home? Sure. It takes a little getting used to, but you can, and like I say, you get to going too fast, you can get it to where you just flick your wrist. It's the easiest way to keep it going. But you get it going too fast, then it'll fly off of the thing. So you need it to the inside. Usually what it'll do, if it's on the inside, if you're just a little too fast, it'll swap to the outside. Oh. But if you're a lot too fast, it'll fly away. When it flies away, it usually breaks the wheel and you're done. But sometimes I've had them fly off and you could catch the wheel and still redo it a couple times, but not a reliable always thing. And this one I thought was pretty cool. I have had it out of the box. It's a Wizmo again. Okay. I didn't remember. It's another Wizmo. But what I thought was pretty cool about it, oh, I haven't had it all the way out of the box. Okay. Was it's the biggest one I've got as far as overall size. So it probably rolls around pretty good. But yeah, I thought I had it out. It's tied in there. No, I have not untied it. I wonder if I have a second one somewhere, because I thought I had played with one of these. I kind of doubt it, because it takes lots of room. If I had played with it, and then it would still be in the house. This wouldn't have gone out of the house, but there's another Wizmo. Where was there's the other Wizmo. It is bigger. It is bigger. It's only about 15% bigger, but it's bigger. They shrunk it down. Okay, that's the Executive. That's why. That's the Wizmo Executive. So if you want a big, real Wizmo, you get a Wizmo Executive. Kind of like an Edsel. Don't have one of them wimpy Lincolns when you can get an Edsel. Worked quite well. A fun go. And I don't see any UPCs. It was made in Taiwan. I do not know. The same basic spinning wheel on rails. I mean, there's a bunch of them made today yet. There really are, all over the world, because this is kind of a fun thing. But the originals, there's only so many of them. I forget where this was from. This is not normal to North America. So this might be real common if you're in another country. Product made in England. There we go. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere towards Europe. England's kind of close to Europe. Yeah, here's the other one. This one's got the handle. That one rolls pretty good. Oh, it's noisy. This is one of the musical ones here. A Rainbow Fungo. Same people as the other one. I didn't realize that. And that is not supposed to be there. I don't know if it makes a different tune when you play the little wheel on it or not. I think I was disappointed with the tune and just kind of left it at that, but I shouldn't have left the batteries in it. I think they're two separate things. Oh, this one lights up too. Wow. So that's the question. Does it light up from a battery in here or batteries on the rails? It lights up from the rails. Yes. Yes. This one's a different operation than the current Chinese battery ones. Still has to have a little bit of speed before it'll light up. If I turn it off, does it quit lighting up too? Yes, it does. But we're not going to leave the batteries in it this time. More yet of a Wheelo. For the most part, I would say I have Wheelos. And two more newer Wheelo from Arrow. Okay. Yeah, another one. I'd forgot about them. That does Craft House Corporation. Yeah. So there are a few different people that had taken on the actual Wheelo name. Now, as we get to looking at these, here is very interesting, is told in the wheels of the Wheelo. We will take this one. That is a mid-age wheel. One I think is a little later. This is an early wheel. I don't see another early wheel. And part of what seems interesting to me on these wheels, here's one. Yeah, here's one. Okay. This one here was chromed after it was formed. It was put a little bit of chrome or polishing, nickel, something on it. Okay, this is, these are the latest ones. And if we look at this, we will also see that it says Maggie Wheelo, patent pending, down on the other side. Okay. If we go back to this one, I think this one's actually probably later. It just says Wheelo, trademark for Wheelo. So it doesn't say patent pending. So there's little differences in these pins. The real difference is on the early one that I will show here in a minute. This is the same as that other one. I've seen a couple other varieties, but this is real interesting. The very first, this is a Maggie wheel. And if you notice right after where it says Maggie wheel, there is a sprue for where they poured the plastic, where they formed the plastic going into the mold, and where they cut it off so it almost looks like an O. And I think when they made these first ones, I think they called it, just as they kept saying, it was a Maggie magnetic wheel. That's what all their literature said. I think they came up with the Wheelo name later on after kids started looking at the wheels and read it as Wheelo instead of wheel with the little casting right next to it. And it says patent pending. And you'll see right there where it says wheel, and then right next to it is just a little blop that was cut off square from where the plastic flowed into it that was not really an O. Now, also these first ones, the two ends on it are actually machine turned on a lathe. They actually put these in a turret lathe most likely, and they actually turned the ends to very nice, consistent little machine with a little steel writing point here, just like you'd have a flange on a railroad wheel, as opposed to the later ones that are just kind of an angle and squished over on the front and not accurately formed. These were, the first ones were definitely different. And you can see that those are the real, they're early. And again, like I say, it says Maggie wheel. The frames are pretty much all the same. You could counterfeit an early frame that didn't have the speed control just by throwing the speed control away. There's nothing you can tell as far as a difference on the frames. The boxes, of course, are different over several different generations. The earliest of the boxes came with an insert, and the insert gives you a little guide to re-straighten your wheel, your frame, so that it's straight and true, so it'll roll good. The later ones, they decided to put the adjuster on there and just let them bend however they bend. So, and they had a lot of these, like this one, did not have, apparently, it has instructions on here on the box, as opposed to the later ones that have what they call wheelettes, which is getting back to the original ones there, and they're just different. They're wooden ones from World War I that were not wheelos, with little decorations that you put in the wheels. And that's why you will see a lot of the later boxes are all torn up. I'm sure I've got some later boxes here too. We'll run across one somewhere, but the later ones are all torn up because the wheelettes have been pulled out so that they could put them, some kid could put them on the side of a wheel and watch the little spin around. Then, and most of what happened with the whole Wheelo thing, most of it was 50s to maybe 61. I mean, there was stuff going on, and the Wheelos were, which that was, I was in diapers at the end, actually 57, I wasn't even around yet. Here's one of the early wheels. And you can see it rolls fairly good. The frame is bent just a little bit, but it's not bad. All in all, the Chinese roundios do the best, but this is an original Wheelo with the machined ends. I think it's a later frame because it is, that particular one is chrome plated. So I think it's quite a bit later. We have what they call a twister. And the twister, does it take the small wheel that's there on that one? I don't think so. I think it takes a full, I think that one has the wrong. I think these take a full-size wheel. I forget for sure. Oh, I'm not sure. It might need, no, it does. It needs, I think it does need this wheel. I think this is the right one. this one goes inside and outside. It's a Mobius. Yeah. So those are pretty cool. That's a very rare one. It's a twister. Oops. And that's why it's not so. It's cool the way it moves, but you can't get going fast. No. No. That is a Wheelo product. And that's just another one in the box. It has right wheel, cardboard's fallen off of it. It is using a junior wheel is what it looks like. Wheelo Junior, patent pending. I think this is, I'm not sure if that's the, although this has got a little, pretty similar. Yeah, it probably is. Just had different little cardboards on them. If I pull the cardboard back, it might say what it was. This one works a little. Well, okay, same thing. Speed limits. Speed limits. Speed limits. Okay. Okay. That is the Wheelo Rounder. And I'm sure I've got a rounder. The rounder is pretty much the same. Here is another one of the twisters. Don't want to pull that rounder out of its plastic because it's in its plastic. The rounder is the same as the Sputnik, except it's not got the space pieces on it. And it again uses the Now I'm not sure if this was a rounder or if this was a Sputnik. So, but it's going to use a junior wheel. That one's already gone for a ride and had a piece flown off of that wheel. So here is the rounder. Kind of a small, larger version. Yeah, a larger version. The outside of what the Chinese one was. I don't know. Now that I've played with those Chinese little hand ones, I don't know if this will run on the inside, if there's clearance for that or not. Okay. It is clearance where you can run it inside or outside, and obviously inside we can go faster without it flying off. That one's pretty good. Yeah, I like that one. I'd never played with it that way before. It came to the outside and reversed. Nice. That was what it did there. That's what those other ones will do now and then if you get going too fast. I was surprised that it reversed when I slowed down, though. It did. So that is a rounder. The Sputnik magnetic one here. It's basically the same thing, except you're supposed to have, and this is the closest I've got, but I've never got everything. Because I got these ones, which are the same. And somebody pointed out it has a dog in it. And I think that the Russians put dogs up in their capsules. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why we have the red dog. I think that is a communist dog. And then you're supposed to have a regular Wheelo that goes on here, which is for the space station, which didn't exist. But you have a space station, you're supposed to have a Russian and a US satellite, and they're supposed to chase each other around. And it really just doesn't work right. But I have had it where this with, you need one of the junior Wheelos, and I forget, one goes on the inside, one goes on the outside, because they will turn opposite directions so that if they hit each other, it's not quite as bad. But it's, there's no way you're going to have 3 different wheels running around at the speeds where it really works. It just ends up being a mess. But this is the only one I've got. I've seen some other ones on collectors that were on YouTube that had another one that was complete with the little earth in there. But I haven't seen one work. Maybe somebody's got one and they can make it work with all the 3 little wheels, and they know how it's supposed to go. I've never had it actually work with all 3 wheels rolling around correctly. So, or maybe it's only supposed to be 2. And I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe the middle, they're saying. Let's go back. How to run the space race. In center of orbit, figure 1. Orbit tracks should be parallel. Okay. If bent, return them to proper place. Space platform. Place magnetic space platform on outside track. Underneath the globe. When the satellite and space platform reach, stop the wrist motion, let the spinning tops coast. They've done that with a lot of these. You get them up to a speed and then you wait and count how long it goes. That's how you're supposed to play a game with multiple people. When it's, how many turns it takes to coast down means that you had the fastest speed. And yes, they are just showing it with just the 2. And they did have just the 2. The third thing they were talking about was the Earth just being stationary in the middle, not a satellite, not a space station. So we're supposed to have the big one on the outside, the little one on the inside. Okay. Okay, let's try. So we have more than one for our grand test here. Okay, still not impressed with that toy. But they make a good roundio if you just go round and round with just the one wheel. Now, let's see. We talked about the wheels. There's the speed control on this one here, which the speed control on that one was actually pretty good. These don't do a whole lot of good going out. They just bring it in so it goes really slow, binds on the wheels. But the most you can do is somewhat. Just doesn't let you have a whole lot of additional adjustment. Here are some wheelettes on the junior one, just little decorative things that you can post into your wheels. Our mystery traveling top. Coming back to it. Probably use some glue and some care. I really like the long tracks on these too. And the fact that they're old and well, they're not hand carved. I mean, they're carved wood. They used a machine to carve them, surely. It's interesting how we have some marker pieces here that look bigger than what the wheel is. I don't quite get that. Must figure we're going to glue them on. I'm not going to. We'll just leave it. The regular wire that comes with those. This is not. Well, it's not the wire that comes with those. Somebody put in a Wheelo one. I do believe. Well, I don't know. Could have just been bent. I've seen them have them bent at different angles. Somebody might have straightened it. If I compare it to one of the Wheelo frames. Yeah, okay, it's different. It does belong here. They just didn't have it. Normally they're spread out a little bit. That one, I think somebody probably saw a Wheelo and reshaped it. This one's bent out a little further than most of them are. But they're usually bent out a little ways. Oh, okay, I know what. Yes, we've looked at those. The one that we hadn't gotten back to that's part of this, I'm winding down here, is the marks. The little marks. And there are no markings on here. This is a mysterious magnetic yo-yo. The names on these old ones, if you're wanting to have one, are very important. And it is permanently magnetized. It is made in the United States of America by MAR with an X across it all toys. I'm pretty sure that's MARX. I'm pretty sure it was the toy company. I know it's Marks. I don't think it is a K. I talked to one friend of mine, and he was talking about how he had played with one of these so much when he was a kid, and until all of the red color came off the wheel and it just was a solid metal wheel. And I'm like, oh, I think that one started that way. I don't think you kids played with it that much. I think it was one of these ones. And I showed him it, and he was like, yeah, that's what it was. So these ones do really roll neat because of the metal. They just don't have very far to go because they're little. But they work really good. They do. Actually, they're smooth. Oops. I have to get my timing more with it because it is smaller. Yeah, I like bigger ones better, but it's neat. It is. It's all metal. To operate the mysterious magnetic yo-yo that spins like a top, up and down like a yo-yo, operating tricks and to perform. Spinner, spindle, high score. Get top as high as possible, then hold it in an upright position and count just like before. Top spinning rapidly, then toss it to the other hand and catch it and keep it spinning. Yeah, that's... Oh yeah, and that in fact is they had that same instructions in that one too. If you look through it about using a nail, you can get it spinning and you can have it dancing off of the magnetism with a nail, just holding the wheel up. Not too impressive by today's standards of video games and everything else, but part of the instructions. And I think that's about it. A lot smaller, less stuff to show than I thought there would be, but Wheelos and such. And now Bert has his own too.